Completely revamping the franchise from head to toe, Thor is back and ready to take on the foretold destruction of Asgard. With one of the highest Rotten Tomatoes scores in Marvel history, I really didn't like it. Hey everybody, Alex here for Nerdy Inc. coming at you with a review of Thor Ragnarok. Boasting an impressive cast and helmed by a director whose name I'm not even going to touch, Marvel gives us a Guardians of the Galaxy movie in Thor wrapping paper. It's bright, it's vivacious, it's funny, so why didn't I like this movie? It's a little hard for me to articulate. To start, the first act is a structureless mess that redefines the phrase ham-fisted. It quickly wraps up the open threads from the Dark World, even going so far as to take a few swipes at the film. We bounce around it aimlessly for 15 minutes until the second act finally kicks in. From there, the film is tighter and more coherent, but even past those bumps in the road, I found it difficult to care about the story. Thor's newfound bumbling attitude is admittedly very funny, though it makes him a somewhat lesser hero. He comes across more like a Thor wannabe than Thor himself, ultimately undeserving of the place he earns at the end of the film. But maybe I'm overthinking this, right? Shouldn't I sit back, have fun, enjoy the spectacle? Well, I tried that, but the action scenes were fairly lackluster too. Over-the-top CGI and a lack of consequence made the action scenes sterile and uninteresting. I can always go back and watch the Guardians of the Galaxy prison break, the Winter Soldier highway battle, the Iron Man 3 fight with the missing pieces of armor. But Ragnarok's action scenes were kinda dull. It was a computer-generated assault with no clear stakes or rules. Now, odds are you will probably like this movie, especially if you didn't like the first two Thor movies. While I'm also not in love with the original two films, I was surprised at how much I didn't enjoy this one. None of the elements really gelled, and ultimately the whole was less than the sum of its parts. While the bold change of pace was admirable, I ultimately felt like this was too obvious of a rebrand. With an unnecessarily rocky first act and a clear desire to be more like Guardians, Thor 3 never quite works. The humor is certainly funny, but it undercuts any semblance of heart that the film could have had. The action is forgettable, the CGI is bombastic, and despite the delightfully weird-looking Jeff Goldblum and his wacky world, nothing feels particularly interesting or inviting about the world. For a Thor movie, I didn't really care about Thor, or his adventure, or his arc, and that's kind of a problem. Since I'm apathetic to the biggest threat to Asgard and the person protecting it, it's hard for me to care about the movie. So, I hope you like it.